Good morning. Very unusual crowd for me to be here. When I came in, two presentations I didn't understand. And I came in very formal with a jacket and a tie. I had to change to take my jacket off, fold my sleeves up, try to look more cool in the crowd. Jeans. I thought of it, but I thought it was the event and also that it was wear a jacket on. But next time I'll learn. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about an investment fund structure. You've heard of this fund vehicles in Cayman Islands and BVI, in this place called Luxembourg, and Ireland and stuff. So what's the problem? The problem was that there is nothing comparable in Singapore and on Singapore soil. And that's what we were working on since 2012, and finally the law was passed this Tuesday. So everything is ready and up and running. Anyone who wants to launch the VCC, raise your hand up or meet me outside. So what is a VCC? It's Singapore Variable Capital Company. We also call it SVAC, not SVAC or SVAC. Those who run radio business to say that please pronounce it like SVAC or VCC. It's Singapore Variable Capital Company. The word. We intentionally wanted to keep these things in the name because we don't want income tax authorities in other jurisdictions to get confused. So it is a body corporate, it is a company. Okay, it is a corporation, but it's different from the Companies Act and corporations that we have today in Singapore or in other jurisdictions because those companies are meant for Singtel, Singapore Airlines, operating company where there's the people are in it, the buildings are in it, the assets are in it. But here, for investment fund, you only need capital to come in and investments to be made. Now, because people are in and the buildings are there, the Companies Act has a lot of provisions and bells and whistles to make sure that it protects the minority investors or creditors, and they maintain the books on a historical cost basis, which you want to know how your money is doing, so you always constantly fair value your investments. So it doesn't really gel very well with the ideology of investing and the legislation build up, which is meant for more like historical cost and for things that have happened in the past. So we needed something that was conducive to making investments, and that's why we needed something called variable capital company. Variable means when money comes in, the capital goes up automatically. You don't need to go and tell the company authorities, I'm getting new shareholders in, please increase my authorized capital. And then when people want to leave, the capital goes down, it happens automatically, as a matter of contracts. So you don't need to go and talk to the regulators or the registrar to change the capital structure. It's all automatic because it's part of the contract that you have with the investor. So it's a legal entity form. So it is not an investment fund law. It is a legal entity. It's beautiful because then it has future uses. Today its use is restricted to investment funds. The 2.0 version is intended for REITs, securitization, insurance, reinsurance, and also potentially for disaster bonds, etc. So it's a legal entity, body corporate, which is very important because you don't want the tax authorities or company authorities in other jurisdictions to understand what is it. Is it a partnership? Is it a trust? What is it? So it's a legal entity, and it is reserved for only investment funds, which means it must meet the definition of collective investment scheme under the Securities Act. The definition of Securities CIS as collective investment scheme is very, very broad. But at the same time, it has a decent amount of exclusion list, so that nothing hanky-panky can happen in there. So you don't want to be, doing insurance, risk protection, etc. You actually do pure investments. Now, because it's a legal entity form which has variable capital, which means money comes in, capital goes up, and money goes out, capital goes down. Okay, and the law doesn't say what you can invest in, what you cannot invest in. It's just a legal entity legislation. When it meets the definition of CIS, the Securities and Futures Act aspect of running it as an investment fund automatically comes in. So we've kept the legislation to be nimble enough so that it can have future use. So it can be used for traditional funds, which means mutual funds, the man on the street that buys, private equity, hedge funds, real estate. You can have a standalone structure, or you can create compartments and create cells, where you can have one cell looking after one strategy or one set of investors, but it's one legal entity. So you can cut it up in pieces. So instead of having one P&L and balance sheet, it will have how many pieces? So there are 4 pieces, and it'll have 4 P&L and balance sheets. And it allows a foreign company, so Cayman be there. It allows foreign companies to, if they meet the definition of a CIS, to be re-domiciled into Singapore as a VCC. So re-domiciliation provisions are made available in the legislation. While we do it, it definitely improves the tax efficiency of your investors. Cayman has no double tax treaties. Okay? Cayman doesn't have direct taxes, so obviously they cannot sign double tax treaties. So it is a tax neutral jurisdiction. If you want your product to be more tax efficient, you want to be domiciled in a jurisdiction which has a lot of double tax treaties, because you don't want to be paying tax twice. Ultimately, the investor does pay tax on the amount of money that he's put into the fund, but then the fund's investment should not be subject to tax. So it's perfectly legal, it's perfectly legitimate, as long as you are proving substance, which means you can't be in one jurisdiction where mining management is and your fund in another jurisdiction. The tax authorities in that jurisdiction will not be happy, because they say, oh, you're trying to just manage tax. But here in Singapore VCC, the condition is only a Singapore licensed and a regulated fund manager can use a VCC, because that's the only way the MES can make sure that you're not misusing the legal entity structure, because it has a limited use and is reserved for only a specific purpose, that is investment funds. There's a concept called check the box election. I have only 10 minutes, so I will not go deep into it, but just for people who are aware of it, it has a check the box election facility if you want to sell, if you want to have a US taxable investor in the VCC. Big benefit today. Companies, Singapore corporations, financial statements. If you pay $30 and you go online, you can download anybody's financial statements and read what's going on. So it's publicly available. In case of a VCC, by law, it is prohibited. Nobody can download. Even only the MES and the ACRA can have access to the financial statements. Similarly, even shareholders list, nobody can have access. Today, I can go download a return of any particular company, and as of that date of filing of the return, I can see who the shareholders are. Okay. So there are a variety of purposes. They can be also used for wealth management. So in the wealth management industry, where you have a trust and you would need an entity to hold the assets, instead of having a private limited or a BVI corporation, you have a VCC. The other beautiful feature about this is Singapore corporations require you to make money and earn profits before you can pay dividends. Whereas in VCC, capital goes up and down. So ultimately, if you want to make distributions, and that if it's out of capital or out of income, nobody cares, because ultimately the capital goes down, and that's what you're ultimately invested in. So if you pay portion of that as distribution or pay portion back as return of capital, it's up to you. Because Singapore also doesn't have any par value of shares. They don't have like $10 par and then back the other is premium. Thank God about it, because that's a accounting nightmare. You need a Singapore license manager. It meets the definition of a Singapore. It should meet the definition of a CIS under the Securities Act. It needs at least one director who is resident in Singapore, and it also requires an executive director. It means a director of the fund management company must be a director of the VCC, at least one. Then the rest you can add how many you want. It must appoint a Singapore registered company secretary. It must have the registered office on Singapore soil. And you have choices of 3 financial statement standards: IFRS, Singapore GAAP, and US GAAP. So previously, Singapore funds were either set up as unit trust or limited companies, or which is a mistake, or partnerships, very gloomy picture. And then with VCC, it can be used across different investment strategies. for irrespective of who your investors are and what category of investors. These are all the details of how investment fund, how VCC can be used for different investment fund types and what are the requirements. One key thing, differentiating it from other jurisdictions where certain funds are exempt from audit, no such luck. Your funds are in VCC will be subject to audit, thank God. Because ultimately there is no regulation on the VCC. The MAS is not going to be giving you permission to launch the VCC because the types of funds that you are going to be working on or investing in are all alternative funds. Okay? Alternative funds, MAS has no jurisdiction over. They have a jurisdiction over the person who runs the alternative funds, the fund manager. Okay? So you don't need to go to the MAS and ask for permission. I want to launch a hedge fund. No, you don't need to do that. All you go to do is you go to the company authorities and incorporate. They will check with the MAS whether the person who is incorporating is a licensed fund manager or not. Yes, done. You get incorporated. That's it. No minimum capital requirement, nothing of that sort. Finally, today, status quo. Nothing different in income tax. We just clarified as to how the income tax will apply. It is a body corporate. It is subject to tax, which means you will have to file a tax return. But you have to go to the MAS and apply for an exemption. That exemption doesn't come free, it comes with certain conditions. And that conditions are just to confine you from your acts. So you basically are not doing something other than what you're telling your investors what you're doing. So you should not be doing insurance or banking or other kind of businesses. You're doing investment funds. So they put down those conditions. So to make sure that you are actually truly running that structure as an investment fund. And then they say, okay, here you go, 0% tax. Okay? Now those kind of things are, so it's status quo. If you're used to having investment fund in Singapore, same condition, 13R, 13X apply. And the reason why we thought of taking this opportunity to speak to you all is because if you are looking at launching a product and you're going to be using TSO, that legal entity, this is another optionality of putting your investment fund into a vehicle called VCC and then maybe tokenizing the shares. But now the beauty of that is you don't need to wake up in the middle of the night for board meetings because they are in another jurisdiction. Because the fund vehicle is here, your service providers are here, your fund manager is here, everything on the same time zone, and at the same time, the ecosystem in Singapore is big enough because you need administrators, custodians, everyone are also in Singapore. And you eliminate a lot of cost because then you have service providers of only one jurisdiction that will apply as an expense ratio on your fund. Just an example, today a Cayman fund. We have a Cayman office, so there's nothing against Cayman Islands. So just give you an example. Okay? A Cayman fund requires a Cayman auditor, PwC Cayman, that signs off the financial statements, who reviews our work, and they review very well. And we do the work because the books and records are here and the client is here. So there are two levels of fees. You have a Singapore attorney and you have a Cayman attorney for legal documentation, etc. Whereas if you have a VCC, there is no need for a Cayman auditor, there is no need for a Cayman lawyer. You have a Singapore attorney and you have a Singapore auditor. So your cost automatically starts becoming a lot more lean and a bigger market and more competition, so obviously prices are in check as well. So if you all have any more questions, just Google variable capital company and right. If you want, write PwC, if not, it will come up first anyways. But we have two important publications. One publication that tells you all of these features of how does the VCC work, infographic kind. And the other one is comparing Singapore variable capital company with funds, similar structures in Cayman Islands, in Luxembourg, Ireland, UK, Mauritius, Hong Kong, and Australia. Hong Kong, Australia, everyone's wondering why? Because Hong Kong and Australia have also come up with something similar but not the same. And Australia is yet launching because Hong Kong has already launched. Because people keep asking us, how does it compare? So just for fun, we put that in. Okay? So thank you very much for your attention and time. Now we go back to the big.
Thank you.